everyone. Welcome once again to the last session. Hi, good. Thank you, David. Good to see that. Thank you. Good to see you're using the chat function very, very well. So welcome to the last session. This is the third and last session of Exploring the Coding Space. I've had an amazing time, and I'm sure you've had a good time as well. I'm not going to say a lot this morning or this afternoon. You know me, I'm Titi Omole. I'm the founder of Course for Children Limited. Our company, what we do, we are not for profit, and what we do is to empower our young people to thrive. Yeah, we empower our young people to thrive. And we have lots of things that we do. We have workshops, we have Trinity Hero Awards, I've mentioned it many times, a lovely event, something to look forward to in July when we would open up the platform for nominations and have the celebration in November. But apart from that, we have workshops like this, and we have another one coming up end of May. So I'll be talking about that at the end of it. You don't want to miss it. I can see people online have started registering for that course, that workshop, and we only just opened it today. So yeah, so be on the lookout for that. Yes, I'm not going to say too much. Let's talk about our ground rules quickly. I think that one is very important. You know the ground rules. Mute your microphone. I can't overemphasize that. Please mute your microphone. If you have to say anything, please put your comments in the chat box. Your facilitator is going to be looking in that chat box, so please put it there. Try not to unmute because it could disrupt the session. We're not going to go registration. We're not going to be treating that today. I think we've moved very, very far. We've covered 2 sessions. By now, everyone should be registered on CS first, so we won't be doing that today. Raise your hand. You could do that as well if you like to speak, and the facilitator would call you, ask you to unmute, speak, and please mute yourself back. What else do I have to say? Yeah, if you have comments, please send it to courseforchildrenlimited@gmail.com, and don't forget to specify on the subject, the title of the workshop and the session. So that will be session 3. I'll be asking you to complete a survey, and you've been very good. Please do so when we ask you to do it. A little bit about yourself. We use that. We need that information. It's very important. And also, we'll be sending out emails for you to complete for us. Please don't ignore it. If you've enjoyed this course, then please do take some time out to fill that short questionnaire for us. So I'm not going to take much of your time. I'm going to hand over to Stephanie, who will be taking the session today. Over to you, Steph.
Thank you very much. And hello, everyone. I am super excited today because we're going to be having guest speakers. Just a quick run around for what to expect. About now to 12:10, we're going to have a gaming talk by Joanna. Then you have a chance for a Q&A. Then we're going to focus on the cave surfing game from 12:20 to 1:20. And then we're going to have another gaming talk. And then we're going to have the graduation and presentation. So not to take too much, I want to introduce Joanna. So Joanna was voted one of 100 GI Games Changers in 2020. Joanna Ricoeur is an award-winning diversity advocate, a guest speaker, and business strategist at Unity. And for those who may not know what Unity is, it's pretty much a software that a lot of gaming industries use to design games. So I'm not going to take too much of the time. I want to introduce Joanna to speak.
Hi, everyone. Hi, this is Johanna. I hope that you're well. I don't see anybody, so can someone just say where they are coming from, if they're excited to be here today in the chat box?
Over here.
So Yes, so I am
Hiya. No, just wait, just say hello. Morning.
Hello.
Hello. I do at Unity. Steph told me to tell you a little bit more about the gaming industry and what I do outside of the industry as well. So my name is Johanna Riquier, and I take care of business development for the Middle East and Africa at Unity. Unity is platform tools that help you develop games. Games such as Candy Crush or Pokemon Go are made with Unity. Okay, so what I do at the moment is I take care, I work with governments and with very big companies to really help them to support the population and support everybody in learning new skills, such as you guys. You are actually learning new skills, but we do that in a much larger scale. And this enable them, actually enable everybody that have those skills to have new jobs or to create their own companies. Yeah. So I really like to interact normally with people. So if you can just say whatever you think in the chat box, that would be great. So I will talk about, so Steph asked me to tell you about the gaming industry. So the gaming industry, as you know, is a large industry where you can have different type of role. So as I said, I'm a non-technical professional in the gaming industry. In the gaming industry, you can have any type of role, such as, and I'm going to share something quickly. Just bear with me 1 second. Where was that? Steph?
Yes, I've stopped sharing my screen. So you should be able to share
Great.
your screen now.
Thank you. Thank you. So here, you can see the type of roles that you have. So you can be a game producer, game tester, sound designer, everything, not only programmers. However, what you can be as well, you can be a salesperson, you can do, if you like to communicate with people, you can do communication, you can do HR, which is human resources, so take care of people, you can recruit people. There are, you know, the gaming industry is like any other industry where you can actually be, you are able to work on your skills, and you are able to be inside the gaming industry and work with people that are creators. So in terms of what I do as well, and that's something that I would like to, I know that my audience is from Ghana, India, and the UK. I wanted to really highlight the fact that today I support the voices of gaming, to the diverse voices. And when I say diverse voices, that means Black and minority ethnic, people that do games for good, because game can be done. You can create a game for the environment. You can create an educational game. You can create a game to help people calm down. So there are games for anxiety, for the mental health. There are games as well to distract people, VR games to distract people when they go to the hospital, to distract people from being scared and being very sad when they have a cancer and they go to the hospital as well. So there is a lot of type of gaming that you can do, and there is an area of professions that you can have, role and positions that you can have in the gaming industry. Open to everybody. And I will show you, I will share again, I will show you a video, a quick video, a moment. And if one of you is happy to do that as well with me, you can contact Stephanie. What I do, I took and highlight minorities in the gaming industry. I want to provide, and we are as a community, we want to provide a safe environment to discuss the opportunities for the next generation. So the opportunities for you to get into the industry. And as well, we brainstorm about solutions to attract youngsters like you that really want to get into the gaming industry. And today, representation matters. That's why we started, so I've got a team, we started a channel where we interviewing youngsters and women of color, women in the Middle East and Africa, in Africa, and in Black women everywhere, and supporting the African gaming industry and supporting the Caribbean gaming industry. I will give you is to really work on your craft, really work on, if you have found your passions, whether it's a programmer, coders, designer, writing, you can be a storyteller as well. If you have found these passions, it is important to always work on it and really extending and being an expert in what you do. Yeah, and two is to really network. And when I say network, is to stay in contact with the people that currently are providing you those classes and lessons, to stay in contact with them. You stay in contact with your classmates, and you as well reach out. However young you are, you can reach out to new people, of course, with your parents, new people to know more about where you want to go, to know more about what you want to do as well. So have some sponsors, some mentors in the industry. Looking forward and fight, fight for what you want. With a quick 2 minutes of video, and to show you the type of people that actually work in the gaming industry.
Hey everybody,
I don't know if you hear.
Blessings for this new year 2021. Hey,
We can hear.
Well, it's Johanna, aka Jojo. Bonjour et bienvenue à vous. Je suis Johanna, aka Jojo. Today we are here with Lawrence Region, car je suis en compagnie de Samy d'Alexis. So we are here with Jennifer Lufo, because we are here with Oscar Michael. Again, command you to do that, honestly. I left France 13 years ago, yes. I'm not going to say my age.
On a décompté les gens pour arriver à qui on peut donner vie, et ça peut être génial.
On va dire ça, c'est une entrée.
During the pandemic, and some of them as well. So that we had people from the Caribbean, we had people from South Africa, we had people from Nigeria, Rwanda, Kenya, in France, as you could hear. So this is really, I hope that I inspired you to understand that the gaming industry is for you, and whatever you want to do, you can actually aspire to be entering the gaming industry.
Now, so I'm going to move forward. And as you guys know, every session we do the Slido. So if we can all go to slido.com, and the code is code space, and please answer the set of questions that are there. These surveys that we ask you to fill is very helpful to us because it allows us to, collect data and do more of these important workshops for you. So please, 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 fill in those forms. I'm going to give you guys about 3 minutes and then we'll start on with the class today. Thank you. So one thing, and I think Joanna highlighted it in her talk, was that, and I think this is what the Coding Club is also built on, is that we have the courage to try new things. We have confidence in using technology. There's perseverance in our nature when facing difficult challenges, because we know that coding and tech is not easy. Sometimes you fail, but even when you fail, it's not the failure, but it's making sure that once something doesn't work, you don't give up, or you keep trying again, and obviously impacting your community and a sense of belonging. So going back, this is a safe coding club. We want everyone to be respectful. I know that everybody has already done a great job this past 3 weeks. So I'm now going to move on to today's lesson. So today we're going to be learning cave surfing. So I want everyone to go on their Google CS and start working on the videos. I'm going to start sharing my screen so I can go to the place where everyone needs to be. And we are looking at the cave surfing game. So when you go to lesson 8 for the cave surfing game, the first thing that you should be seeing is a side-scrolling game and if-else statement. Now, for you to start working on the gaming, you need to go down.
I can't find it.
Okay, you would have to go to your dashboard. So going back to your done, including your homework, if you go to lesson 8, you'll see cave surfing game, and then you click on number 1. And once you do that, you're going to see the game starter. So I'm going back again with the ground rules. I would prefer if you have any question or if you don't get anything, if you put it in the chat, then I'll be able to see it and answer you based on that. So finally, one question is, with the certificates, you should be getting them next week. This week is just for us to finalize this training and obviously having a graduation session as well. So once you go to the first one, you should see links, and then you go to cave surfing. And then that will take you to your CS First project for this game. On this one, you have your parrot, your cave 1, cave 2, cave 3. So I'm gonna play the first video that you have to watch.
Hey, and welcome to Scratch Games Day 8. Today, you'll create a side-scrolling game while learning about if-else statements. You might be familiar with recent side-scrolling games like Helicopter and Flappy Bird. You'll notice that in these games, the sprite only moves up and down. The illusion of moving forward is created by moving the background. To create today's game, you'll also learn about if-else statements. If-else statements are very similar to if statements. Remember, an if statement reads like this. If a condition is true, do this action, or else do nothing. An if-else statement reads like this. If a condition is true, do this action, or else do this action instead. If if-else statements are useful because it lets you specify a default action. Watch how if-else statements are used to program video games. In Tetris, the best-selling video game of all time, the user must manipulate falling shapes to arrange them into rows. If the user presses the down arrow, the falling shapes fall down really fast. Else, they fall down at the regular speed. An if-else statement is useful here because the falling shapes need to do one action all the time, but switch to doing another action when something specific happens. In Plants vs. Zombies, the user must defeat waves of zombies using plants with special powers. If there is a zombie near the scary shroom, it cowers down and doesn't shoot. Else, it continuously shoots at the zombies. Just like the creators of those popular games, you'll use if-else statements to build your project today. In this game, a sprite is controlled using an if-else statement. For example, if the spacebar is being pressed, then go up, else go down. Before moving on to the next screencast, click and open the starter project link next to this page. Once you've completed the screencast, move on to the next screencast to learn how to create a scrolling background.
Okay, so like I said, on the links has a cave surfing game starter project, which will take you to this. And what they want you to do, or the instructions, is that they want you to add a new sprite, preferably one that's in the files that they have. So again, going back to how we do or add a new sprite, if you go at the bottom and you see the cat sign, you click on that. And I think because I already have a parrot, I might choose to have a crab or a dinosaur this time. So maybe I'll choose dinosaur 2, and that's my other sprite. So now I have completed activity 1 for the CS first. Oh, sorry, I can't hear the person speaking. Do you want to try again? To move on to the next video.
We'll program the background sprites to scroll. In the starter project, 3 different cave sprites act as the background. The first cave sprite is red, the second is blue, and the third is green. In this example, one cave sprite closely follows the next, forming what looks like a continuous scrolling background. In the starter project, there is code that's been added to each cave sprite. This code starts the first cave at x times 480, the second at 2 times 480, and the third at 3 times 480. The code also contains a variable, distance traveled. Each time these loops run, each sprite goes to a new position based on the value of distance traveled. You can imagine how this might look outside of the Scratch viewer. Imagine you have 3 sprites that are all 480 pixels wide. You need to set the first to start with an x value of 480, the second to start with an x value of 2 times 480, or 960, and the third to start at an x value of 3 times 480, or 1140. The distance traveled variable increases as the sprite moves, advancing the background sprites. When distance traveled equals 0, the sprites stay at the current position. When distance traveled equals 1, the sprites all move to the left 1 step. When distance traveled equals 2, the sprites all move to the left another step, and so on until the backdrop has scrolled all the way across the stage. To make the backdrop scroll, program the distance traveled variable to increase throughout the game. Click the player sprite and drag out a change distance traveled block. Add a when flag clicked block above this. Click the flag a few times to test this code. Each time the program runs, the value of distance traveled goes up by 1 and the caves move 1 step to the left. If you try a higher value, like 50, you can scroll through all the caves just by running the code a few times. Next, increase the value of distance traveled repeatedly. Add a forever loop from the control menu to the change block. Click the flag to test. Whoa, that was fast. If you click the flag to test again, the program won't run. The distance traveled variable holds a value. When you start the game, the variable is still holding the value of the distance traveled from the last game. To fix this bug, add a set distance traveled to 0 block under the when flag clicked block to reset the game. Click the flag to test. Great, the distance traveled variable starts at 0, then increases. Tinker with the value and the change distance traveled block until the sprites scroll across the screen at a pace you like. Now it's your turn. Add a change distance traveled by block and a green flag event, a forever loop, and a set distance traveled to block. Program the distance traveled variable to increase throughout the game. Set the distance traveled to 0 when the flag is clicked. In the next video, you'll control the rising and falling of the player sprite with an if-else statement. In this video, you'll program the
Okay, so now what they want us to do, I think going back for those who were wondering why we haven't deleted the parrot. So we have to imagine that this game is a 2-player game. So the parrot is our player 1 and then the dinosaur is player 2. So for this session, we're going to focus on player 1, but you can do the same code for player 1 as the same code for player 2 to have fun or to play this game with your friends or family. So if we're going for this section, what they want to do is they want us to make player 1, which would be a parrot, to move across the screen and to make the sprite keep moving across the screen and to then reset the sprite position at the start of each game. So if we look at the code here, there is 2. First, we have to put, remember what I said last session, if you go to events, we choose when the green flag is clicked. So this allows us to start the game. And before I go, I have to double check that I'm actually using the right sprite. So I'm going to delete this because I realize I'm doing the dinosaur rather than the parrot. So I click on the parrot because the parrot is player 1. And then I go to events, which is here. And then I click on the when the green flag is clicked. But going back to what they said, remember they explained to us why the caves have the different codes that they have. With cave 1, cave 2, and cave 3, they all have the same code, but it's different with 1, 2, 3, depending on their position of the sprite on the page in regards to the background. So going back to the parrot, we have our event, which is when the green flag is clicked, which is like our button that we have on a page. Now we're going to now look at orange. Orange is the variables. What are the variables we have in this case? But before we go to variables, we have to choose the set, then forever. So we'll choose the set, which is distance traveled. And remember it's set as 0 because that's where you're starting. If you're starting, your parrot is not moving, it's at 0, so it's stationed. And then we're going to explain on how it moves and what distance or what speed level the sprite then moves at. So in variable, we have put the set distance traveled to 0. Then we're going to use the forever. Again, remember what I said last week, forever is a repeating function. So it allows us to keep repeating our function. In this case, it allows our bird for us to keep playing our bird over and over again without stopping. So we go to control, I believe, and we choose forever. So I click on this forever one. If for anyone who's wondering where to get the forever control stuff, you go to control and it's under the repeat 10. So I'm going to the forever and I'm putting it here underneath the set distance traveled. So now I'm going to go back to the first page again to see what they said. Okay, forever distance traveled changed by. Now, if you remember, when it was at 50, it was going really, really fast. But then when she put it in number 5, it went slower. So it doesn't have to be 5 for you. You can have 5, 10, 11, 12, any number. It depends on your speed. So we're going to go back to variable again, and we're going to have distance traveled. I'm just going to double check that we're using. Okay, so this time we're not using the set. So I'm going to delete that. We're changing this and we're using change. So the set is the starting point and the change is what happens next. So for me, I'm going to choose, Google CS says you can choose 5, but like I said, you can choose any number. For me, I'm going to choose 10 because I like the number 10. So I'm going to choose 10 for distance traveled. Now, let's play and see what happens. As you can see, our sprites are moving. All right, so that's what we then need to do for video 2. Does anyone have any question? Please put it on the chat if you didn't understand anything that I said throughout the demonstration for the video 2. Remember what I said about the numbers, right? So going back, this is what your code should look like for your parrot. You should have the when this is clicked, then you have the set. So make sure that the orange bit, the first one, says set different distance traveled. Then you're having your forever, and then you're having change. So, remember I made that mistake. Change distance travel. Your set is where you stop, and your change distance travel will allow. So the more numbers you have in this white box, the faster your sprite is going to go. The lower the number, the slower your sprite is going to go. The slower your sprite is going to move. So that's how you do it. We're now going to move on to the next video.
In this video, you'll program the player sprite's flight through the caves. To program the sprite to go up when the user presses the spacebar and fall if the user stops pressing the spacebar, use a conditional statement. Click the player sprite and drag out an if-else statement. Select Sensing and add a space key press block. If the user presses the spacebar, the parrot should move up, so add a change Y block in the then portion of the block. This example uses 5 in the change Y block. If the user is not pressing the spacebar, the sprite should move down, so add a change Y block to the else and change the value to something negative. This example uses a value of -5. Now this reads, if the player presses the spacebar, move up, else move down. Remember to test your code often to make sure everything is working the way you want it. The sprite moves up when you press the spacebar and moves down when you let it go. Next, make the sprite look like it's flying using switch costume blocks. This may look different depending on the sprite that you chose to be your player. Remember to test your code often to make sure everything is working the way you want it. Now it's your turn. Make the sprite move up and down using an if-else statement, a forever loop, space key pressed, and change Y blocks. Add costume changes to make the sprite look more realistic as it flies up and down. And the next step, you'll program a winning and losing condition for your game.
Okay, so for this step, we're now adding conditions, and the conditions is the if. So if this happens, do this. If not, do this. So we're going to go back to our code. Now I'm going to add the if function, and the if this then else is here. So if, and then that sign, then this happens. Else, if this doesn't happen, then this should happen. So I'm going to drag that, and we want to put it underneath the change. So you want it underneath the change distance traveled. And then we're going to go back. So looking at how and what functions are here, there are certain things that we have to consider. The first one that we have to consider is the key space. So space will allow you to control your parrot. So if you press space, your parrot goes like this, then goes like this, then goes like this. So for us to have that function of our bird moving, the first thing we need to do is to set the feeling. So the feeling is blue, it's on the blue section. So we have sensing, and then we have the motion. So I believe for this one, we're going for sensing, and we want to look at the space function. So here, if key space is pressed. So if you press your space function or your space key on the keyboard, what should happen. That's what we're now trying to set in the conditions. So we've set our feeling that if this is happening, then this would happen. Then we're thinking about, okay, if you press the space, we want a motion, we want a movement to take place. Now that's why we're going to go to the blue one. So we're going to change Y by so, and so. So going to motion, we're looking at change Y by, here it says 5. So you can choose 5. 5 makes it slower and allows you to kind of see it happening, you know, a little bit more slower. For me, I'm just going to choose 10 because I like things to happen a little bit faster. So that's my number. But like I said, you can choose any number you want. It doesn't have to be a set number. So I'm choosing change Y by 5, well, by 10, because my distance traveled is also by 10. So I've done that under the Y function. But remember, we have to do the costume change. The costume change, I will show you why that's important. So we're going to go on to looks. Looks is us describing, okay, how does our sprite look? This is when we get to that function. So we're going to choose change, switch costume. I'm just going to go back, switch costume 2. So we're looking for switch costume 2, and that's under the think function. So I'm then going to put that underneath change by 10. Now, because my sprite is the parrot, I'm going to choose parrot B. So going back, I think I saw someone that said they can't find the change by. So remember, this is your code in this section. You want to go to motion, which is the blue one, the dark blue, not the baby blue, the dark blue. And when you go to motion, if you look down and you scroll, you will see the change Y by, and change Y by is underneath set X2. So you want to change Y by your number, preferably the same one that is similar to the distance traveled. So because my distance traveled was 10, I'm using 10. Now the difference on why we're using the costume, just going to the costume of your parrot, is that A, the bird is flying up, B, the bird is down. So when we think about that picture, what that looks like is it looks like the parrot is flying because the parrot is up and the parrot is down, giving that motion or that illusion that the parrot is flying. In a game sense, if you're doing this in a more sophisticated system, what you'd be using is you'd be drawing different aspects of your character, and then as it moves to different scene, that character changes, and that's how they create animation. Most of this is done slightly differently so that the movement of the character is seamless. So that's the same idea, the same concept that we're using for our game. So going back to our thing, I put switch costume to parrot B. Now, if this doesn't happen, what happens? Remember, this is a condition. So we're saying that we're going to switch costume to the bird flying down. If that doesn't happen, then we want to set it to the bird flying up. So what we then want to do going back there is to change Y, but you're minusing the number that you have in the top. So as you can see here, the number is by 5, but in this other condition, we're setting it by -5, because again, it allows that seamless position to go forth. So similar code to what we have on the top, change Y by, and then I'm going to choose -10. But as you can see, I might change mine because when I did that, you know, it went really high and then it went really low. So I think it might be best, looking at my code now, to change it. Let me see how it is in 7, -7, and here have -7, and then I'll put my distance traveled as 7. So I'm seeing my thing is still down there. So okay, in that case, I'm going to set mine similar to the example to 5. So putting everything at 5, I think seems like the best practice. And then I'm going to go back to my looks and then change or switch costumes too. And then I'm going to choose parrot A. So let's see what happens when we click. Oh, my parrot is still there. I'm going to stop that. Look at my sprite. And I'm going to put my sprite in the middle. Let's see if that changes anything. All right, I probably need to put my sprite higher. So I'm going to stop there. Move my sprite way to the top. Let's see what difference that makes. Ooh, all right. Stop there again. Right to the middle. And I'm going to press the green flag. But I'm also going to be pressing on my space button so you can see what happens. So as you can see with my space button, my sprite is flying. But it's going lower and lower and lower and lower. I have to fight to make sure it doesn't go down. So you're seeing that my bird is flying. So that's what we want. If it is by pressing the green, remember the green is like, you know, if you're in a car and you want your car to go, you turn on the key. And that's exactly what the green flag is in this scenario. So I'm going to wait for 1 minute. Anyone who has any questions, please put it on the chat and I'll try to answer every of them. If not, we're going to move on to the next stage. You're keeping the parrot flying. So I'm going to start again. I'm going to drag my sprite to the top. I'm going to press that. And as you can see, I'm pressing my space button, which is making my bird fly. If I release it, my bird goes down. So that's the essence of the game. You're making it difficult for the person that they have to keep pressing the space bar to reach to the end. If not, your bird is gonna go down. So that's how you do that. We're now going to move to the next aspect.
In this video, you'll program winning and losing conditions for your game. To start, program a winning condition. The finish line in this game is green. The player will win if the sprite touches the color green. Click the sprite, drag an if block into the forever loop, and add a touching color block from sensing. To select the finish line color, play the game until the finish line is on the stage. Then select the color swatch and click the finish line. If the sprite reaches the finish line, the game should stop. Add a stop all block from control. Program something awesome to happen when the sprite wins. Add code above the stop all block. This sprite could play a sound, say something, switch to a celebratory costume that you drew, anything you'd like. Next, program a losing condition. Gameplay should stop if the player touches the edges of the cave. Notice that the edges of the cave are all black lines. To program a losing condition, program the game to check if the sprite is touching black. From the control menu, drag an if statement into the forever block. Select the sensing menu and drag out a touching color block as a condition. Click the color swatch, then the black cave edges to select it. If the player touches the cave edges, all code in the game should stop. To stop all code in the program, use a stop all block from control. If you would like, add more activity to the losing condition. For example, change the costume to an explosion, play a sound, or use a say bubble to tell the player they lost. Add any other code for the losing condition above the stop all block. Then add a go to XY block and place it at the top of this stack. And enter where your sprite should start. Now it's your turn. Program winning and losing conditions by adding if, touching color, and stop all blocks. Then add features to your winning and losing conditions to make gameplay more exciting. In this video,
Okay, so for this section, I'm gonna say it's a little bit more slowly because it's more complicated. So what I'll do is all right, let's go. So the first thing that we want to have is that we want to add another if this happens and this happens function. So we're going to click on our thing, and then I'm going to look, if this happened, then this. So I'll put that underneath here. So that's going to the control and putting, if this happens, then this happens. Again, this is us setting the conditions. If I then go to the next stage, which is the touching color. Now remember, we want it to be this green color. So I would keep flapping my thing as it's going to kind of see how we can get to the final stage. You can see I'm doing it really fast and then stop. Oh. And then stop. So we have the finish line. So again, I'm going to go back here, look at touching color. So we want to go on to sensing. Remember, sensing is all about touching, interacting. So the touching color that we want, I believe it should be here. I just want to double check that's the right one. So the touching color, I'm going to go here, dragging the thing. I'm going to look at the color picker. So if you click on the touching color, it should give you different gradients. But you see this sign over here. If you click on it, I can then go and say, okay, the finish line, which is that color. So again, click on this. Let me go start from the beginning. Go to sensing, click on the touching color, question mark, drag it and put it in your first part of your if function. Then if you click on the color, it allows you to click on this gradient, which then allows you to choose a color. So I click on this gradient and I want it to be this color. So that's the first step. The second step now that we want to do is we want to be able to create our winning and losing conditions. So I'm going to choose the looks. So I want it to say you've won or you've lost, depending. So looking at that one, they say you win for 2 seconds. So I'm going to choose a say hello for 2 seconds, put it underneath, and put you win. So again, for this section, you want to go to looks. Then when you scroll down, say this for 2 seconds, but I choose say hello, and then you can edit what you want that to say in this section here. So again, remember, it's all about touching color in the sensing bit. And then for us to then go on to the looks to set the winning and losing conditions. Then in that aspect, you want it to stop. So if they go to the end and then they touch it and they've won, you won. It will say you win. And then you want the whole game to stop at that point. So with that, I'm going to go to control because we want a control function. And then we'll put that underneath our say win for 2 seconds. Then we want to go back. And I think the second thing, we are following the same thing, same functions, but different colors this time. So I'm going to go back to sensing. And then we're going to choose on touching color, similar to the top one. But wait, we've missed something. Okay, so we want another function here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete our touching color, or I'll put our touching color there. I'm then going to go to control and I'm going to choose if and put it here. So the if function should be underneath else. And then I'm going to copy this, but choose a different color. So I put the touching color in that section. I then click on the blue. And remember the gradient. This is the gradient that we want to click on. If we click on that, I can then go to black, which is the bottom here. So that once our parrot falls down after the finish line, it should say game over. That's what we want to happen. In that case, I will then go to looks, choose to say hello for 2 seconds. But in this case, we're going to say game over for 2 seconds. Game over, exclamation mark. And then we want it to then stop. So we go again to control, and then we click on, we then put it underneath the game over, and it should say stop all. So let's try this again. I'm going to press the flag. So, oh, I'm gonna drag our, you're seeing it says game over. But if I keep going, oh, I said that too fast. Let me keep going, drag my bird really high, and then keep pressing my space button. Aha, I now know what the problem is. So because we chose black, any black thing it touches, it then says game over. But also, the reason why that's important is because in this game, we want our parrot to keep going, And then let's see. So let's say I'm using, this is great. Okay, Miriam said that she was able to fix her problem, changing it from X. I put change X instead of XY. Okay. I messed it up. I don't know how to fix it. All right, I think what we're going to do, I'm going to leave the code here because sometimes the difference is just on the code. Can everyone see the code page and what your code should look like? All right, Mama Ray got to the finish line. I guess you guys are better at playing this game than me because I didn't even get to the finish line. So this is good. I've left the code page so that you guys can catch up. But if there's any pressing thing, please put in the chat so I can see. We're going to be doing this for 9 more minutes. So I'm going to leave everyone to work on this on 9 more minutes, and I'm going to leave my code there for your parrot. Remember, after this session, it doesn't have to stop here. You still have access to the Google platform, so you can definitely learn and even try to have more than 1 character, have 2 characters, have 3 characters. Remember, our code is our code of conduct, or our club rules is that we don't give up. We keep on trying. So if anyone, again, like I said, I've left my code there on what your code should look like. If you have any questions, put it in the chat, and I'm happy for us to keep going on at this. In 9 minutes, we're going to, in 8 minutes, we're going to have our next guest speaker. And then remember, it's 10 minutes for them to discuss. And if you have any questions as well for the speaker, you put in the chat. And then after that, anyone who wants to present their work, please let me know. We'll have about 10 minutes for those who've got through to present their work and share with the rest of the class. So again, I'm going to leave everyone for 8 minutes. If you have any questions, put it in the chat, and I'll jump on to answer any questions that you guys have. Change by Y, that's working. Two people. We have 3 more spaces. Okay, 2 more spaces now. Who else? Okay, 1 more space. All right, the 5 spaces has been filled. So we're going to have Jasmine, Sapphire, Ugo, Muffy, and Momori presenting. I'm super, super excited to see what work that you guys have done. Is everyone okay for us to move forward? And move on to the next section. So we have now done our cave surfing game, but I'm super, super excited to introduce our speaker, Lorelli Sanchez. So hi, Lorelli. Do you want to present, or do you want me to kind of say spiel?
Lorelei. Hi, Steph. How are you?
I am good. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm now going to close my video and let you take the space.
Yes, of course. So my name is Lorelei. I am from Mexico. To be honest, I can present myself, but also you can read it. So I think it will be easier if I start talking about supply chain and what's the involvement of the supply chain in the video game industry. what I have seen that you are doing is amazing. To be honest, at your age, I've never imagined me doing that. So it's incredible. And what's the importance? So, well, first, when you develop a game, so when you have a great idea, you can do it just online, or you can online, yes, to be played on your TV, in your tablet, on your computer. But in these big companies that we know in the video game industry, then we have an area which is supply chain. And what supply chain management is the handling of the entire production flow of a good or service, starting from the raw components. Okay, and then there are 5 areas that are key in the supply chain, which is planning, sourcing, manufacturing, delivery, and logistics. And also we need to include the returns, so also the reverse logistics. And then all my career has been in this world, in the IT for supply chain, or just supply chain. What's the importance of this area? That if we don't have these areas in all these companies, then the products never arrive to you. So to buy a product in a retailer or online, we need to deliver those physical products to those places, and then you are able to buy them. And behind that, there is a lot of work that we do every day, because we need to be, we need to bring the products from the from the factory to you. And then all these products go across different countries. It could be from China, from Japan, from the US, and then they travel to different places, and they go to a warehouse, and then they travel again within the countries, and then are delivered to the stores, and then we can get them. And then there is a part that if you are not happy with the product, or there is a fault, you also need to, or you want to return the product, then that's reverse logistics, and that's also part of the supply chain. So that's, we start the supply chain from the manufacturing of the products to the retailer, so to the store, and then we have the reverse logistics, which is bringing the products from the retailer to the company again, but the other way around.
Point. This morning we were talking about storytelling and you know, with the Unity, how that works. And what I really like about your role, again, just highlighting that, you know, any role, it doesn't have to be coding. There's so many roles in the gaming industry that you can do. And like, you know, when you think about game repairs or console repairs and the manufacturing and how these different devices, like, you know, whether it's PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, any of these consoles, you know, how, when you buy them, how they transported. And this is a very interesting area if you're interested in like how games are being made and moved around. So I think my first question is to you, and I'll also wait for everyone to send their question on the chat, is why the gaming industry? Why, what led you into going into this industry? Because you could work in any department or any field, but why did you choose gaming specifically?
That's a good question. Actually, I've never thought about working in the video game industry. I started my career in a delivery company because I'm industrial engineer. I studied in Mexico. And for that delivery company, my career, my major, is super important because it's like the backbone of the company. Because what we used to do, it was the strategy of the company. So then so it was a delivery company, which is part of the supply chain. And then one thing brings you to another. So then I worked for 3 years in that delivery company. And then I moved to Spain to study my major, my MBA. Then I worked for a different company. And then suddenly I received an offer from a distribution center for a video game company. And then is when I started my career in supply chain for the video game company. So it was the warehouse where this video game company was storing the products. And that was like my first start. Can I give is enjoy the life, because you never know what will happen in the next 20 years. So for instance, I'm from Mexico. All my family is in Mexico. And I've never imagined that I was going to live in 3 different countries. So in Mexico, in Spain, and in the UK. So my advice is to be happy. So because the happiness you create your, sorry?
Remember the rules. If you have any question, put it in the chat, but go ahead.
Yeah, so it's create your own happiness, live it and enjoy the moment, because you don't know what is going to happen in the future. And then go follow your dreams, because they will become true. What you need is to hard work. You need to be constant, to have a discipline, and everything is going to happen eventually. So
can you make money from gaming? Is it something, which is a very interesting question. Do you think that long term industry that it's going to grow, that they should look into like entering? I think that's what they want to know.
Definitely. So first of all, I would say that do what you love, and then you think about money will come eventually if you are great in what you're doing. Because if you do something thinking that you want it because you want the money, then probably you are going to feel frustrated, or you are going to be frustrated to a certain point. So if you really like video games, then go for it. When I was watching Steph explaining the steps of the video game, I was impressed, because it's amazing, and you are at a very good age to start learning. So go for it. And then entertainment is necessary, and if people find in video games something that they love, then definitely it's going to be, or we will see a very long life for the video games. So what I would say is, if you are really interested in developing games, so working for any of the video games company, what I would do is just try to study something at the place where the video games are developed, and then maybe you can join. When you are young, you can join to one of these companies as a developer, because if you are in the place, maybe it's easier. Well, we don't know what is going to happen in the next 10 years, and maybe you are going to be able to create games from your home, because in the end we don't know. But also something important is that there are other areas involved in the game developing, which are, for instance, translations. There is a huge, or there are huge teams of people working on the translations, also testers. So you can start maybe as a tester, as a translator, and then maybe slowly you can go up to that area that you are interested.
Turn off the mic, and then let's give a warm round of applause. Thank you so much for which is presentation time. So I remember a group of people put their hands up. So I'm going to go back to the list, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen and seeing who said that they wanted to present. So the first person was Jasmine. Also, Jasmine, do you want to tell us more about your game and how you did it?
To play a game, and it's a cat and a parrot, And the aim of the game is to get to the end, and then once you've gotten to the end, there'll be a level 2 where it gets a bit faster. If one sprite touches like the black line, then it will automatically stop, and then you have to start again. But and also if the other sprite goes to the finish line, it gets faster, and you also have to start again. But to control the parrot, you use the space key, and to control the cat, you use the right key.
On the list, and I believe going back, it is Sapphire. Down. Yeah, you know the one that has like those four signs underneath student. If you scroll up,
Yeah.
no, the one next to it.
This one.
The other side. No, the one at the edge.
This one.
The one at the edge, at the very edge.
This one.
Yeah.
Play a game, and you have to get to the end. And when you get to the end, it makes a bird sound.
That's really good. Get to expand your screen and explain to us as well what you did or what your game is. Move on to the next person. So I think going back to my list, the next person is Mufi. Hey, just his graduation. And I'm super excited about that. So now we're going to go into that aspect. So let me share my screen. All right, and concurrent slide. So graduation, wow, it's been an amazing 3 weeks that we've been learning the Google CS first. So first of all, I want to say congratulations once again on a job well done. Just because we finished a workshop doesn't mean that this journey of you learning how to code has to finish. Trust that this is the beginning and there are more exciting opportunities. What I loved about everyone who presented today as well is, although, you tried it, but you also tried the other games, like the platform games, the quest games, and shared like what you've done as well. So keep learning, keep at it. Remember, don't give up. Just because things are hard doesn't mean we give up. We keep going. And like I said, it's now important that you test your skills. Keep at it. Think about other games, like think about real life games that you can replicate, learning and using the tools that we've all learned in this coding club. Practice, create your own games. Tech is fun, so do not limit yourself by stopping here. And I also want to thank everyone for coming and giving it your best work. In regards to the certificates, you're going to get the certificates next week. And I'm now going to move it on to the Slido for feedback and pass it on to our main host to present on this section.
Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you so much. I've had an amazing time. Thank you, Steph. We've come to the end, like every good thing, they have to come to an end sometime. So we've come to the end of this particular workshop, which is which is exploring the coding space. I have learned a lot, and I'm still going to keep learning. So if I'm learning, then you guys, you have no choice but to keep at it. Just before we close, just like Stephanie has said in there, please go to slido.com. It's important that we get your feedback please fill in that feedback survey for us. Please, we need them to help shape our future workshops. I've also sent emails to you or your parents to the email box that was registered with us. So you would have seen the email. Please complete those questionnaire for us. I can't overemphasize the importance of sending your name and user ID. We've sent out a message during the week that any other thing, information received after today, we are unable to treat it. So if you're yet to send your username and ID, please do so now. I'm going to tell you quickly about an event that we have coming up. Let me see, where is it now? Okay, this is it. So our next event is this one. It's coming up. It's called Project Management for Beginners. It's going to be for 2 Saturdays in May. You don't want to miss it. This one, you've got to be at least 14 to participate for you to make sense of what we're going to do. But it's important. You're going to learn new things that you're going to take ahead with you in your journey, employment. You know, those are basic things that you need to work. I know some of you might be young now, 12, 11, 13, but 15, 16, 17, 18, you need to know some of these things. So yeah, it's going to be May, so don't miss it. What else? So yeah, that's it for us. On behalf of Cause for Children Limited, I just want to say thank you once again for joining us, and thank you again to Steph for taking time off to teach us about coding. The past 3 weeks, I've had an amazing time, and from me, just keep learning and watch out for our workshops. Another thing you don't want to miss, I've said it earlier on, will be the True Little Hero Awards. We're going to open it for nomination in July. Don't miss it. And those of you that have attempted presentations, we might be inviting you to the event as well. So don't miss it, because there's something for you, and you will only receive it if you're present at the event on the day. So that's it for me. Enjoy your afternoon, and yeah, just keep learning. Bye.